Well, it was the night before December. Well, in December. Not a creature was stirring. Not even a mouse. But this guy was, because he was in the studio. And, yeah. Welcome to our 2025 recap. This is an opportunity for me to not only shout out every awesome, amazing person that was on the show this year, but it's also an opportunity for my editor to work his tail off to bring you a couple of unique nuggets for each and every guest. This is designed to give you just an appreciation of the Picasso that I painted this year for this show to bring the baddest ass people on the planet. Can you say ass in a Christmas episode? I don't think so. Year-end recap? I don't know. Anyway, to bring the greatest people that I never thought I could possibly ever in a million years book to the forefront for you. I know that you are a dedicated listener. I know that you're tuning in with bated breath for every single guest that we bring on, but there might have been a few episodes you missed along the way. So number one, I wanted to be able to highlight and personally thank each and every one of the guests that was on this year. I wanted to be able to give us a few little nuggets from each of their interviews and give you a solid recap and remind you to go back at any time to listen to these episodes because they are full of absolute magic. I have said it before. I will say it again because I am right now saying it again. These are like mini master classes. I am so indebted to these amazing experts who show up, who have come on the show, who have given us these nuggets of wisdom, these amazing stories, and their own individual takes of what the ripple effect means to them. I am blessed beyond measure. I have been so grateful to have the level of people that we've had on. Our years in the past have been great. All of our guests are phenomenal. But this year, it just felt like we up-leveled in a big, big way. And I thought, what better way to celebrate these people but by doing a quick recap episode that you can hear that would encourage you to go back and actually sit for the whole episode again. I can't tell you how many people that I've had that have stopped me and said, Steve, I listened to your episode. I listened to it first for enjoyment, and then I come back and I listen to it a second time for the education and for the knowledge and the nuggets that are shared. I have been truly, truly blessed beyond measure that this show has gotten so much attention. I can't tell you how many times a week I get contacted by a producer or an agent or someone that is representing, a new author or a speaker that's got content out there or an entrepreneur that's out there changing the world. I literally have a backlog right now. I looked before we started recording in my emails of well over 200 inquiries that we've gotten just since the middle of the year. That I'm afraid to go back and look any further because I feel like we've done something with this show. It's hit a nerve. People like it. And I've had a lot of people that are like, hey, I got a book coming out and I love your interview style. I love your approach. I love your energy and your enthusiasm. I want to be on your show. Or they reach out and they have their agents who are like, I'm trying to position them with some of the best podcasts out there. And to hear that I'm in that club, it's beyond humbling, and I'm so grateful for it. And I wish I could just do this full time, to be perfectly honest with you, because it would actually have to be full time with as many inquiries as I get, because there's just not that many hours in the day. But the level of people that have been on my radar that I've been able either to pursue and get on the show, which there were a few of them this year, and the people that have stepped up and been like, dude, I want on the Ripple Effect podcast. It is where it's at. It is what is happening. It is just amazing. So what we're going to do is I am just going to call out these names. My editor is going to excite you with sound bites from each of these folks, and you're going to get a little brief recap. What I thought I would do, and even before I dive into this, I need to give a couple of real sincere appreciations to my editor, Jello, who has done an amazing job both on video and audio. He has stepped up my game in a big, big way. He takes all my crazy thoughts and he puts them together and makes me sound actually smart. Not easy to do, let me tell you. And I want to thank my assistant, Deli, who keeps me in line, reminds me of our themes, where we need to focus our energies and our questions to maximize the interviews. And she's been one of my best cheerleaders. I am so grateful for these two and what they brought to my team this year. I feel like we need to give them a little recognition. Way to go! You guys are awesome. Thank you for working with me because I know I'm not easy. And God love you. You guys have patience like for days with this guy. So here's how it's going to work. I'm gonna roll through these names and just kind of give you a quick summary of who was on at what month. And Jello is going to do some magic, and he's going to make these episodes just kind of magically pop. And we're going to share a nugget or two from each guest, and hopefully it's a nugget or two that will encourage you to go back and listen to it. Like I said, I've had people that have actually said, I come back and I study these episodes. I go back and I listen with pen in hand and journal. Ripple Connection Journal available today, ripplecentral.com. Go to our shop. Boom. There you go. You could have it. You could be taking your notes. You could be like, look at what I learned. What is Steve, all the ripples Steve created for me by bringing these amazing people to my purview, into my view, into my ears, into my eyes, because they are some amazing people. And I promise you, if you do that, if you go back to these episodes, not only are you going to be re-inspired, but you are going to find some people that you're going to want to follow. You're going to want to support their work in a big, big way. So with no further ado, let's dive into the guests for the first quarter. Bing! All right, January saw three amazing people that came on. Well, excuse me, two amazing people because the other person was me, and I will not qualify myself as amazing, but I did get our season 10 kicked off correctly. Can you believe that? We've been doing 10 seasons of this podcast. It's nuts. Apple has not booted me off. In fact, we got more traction on more podcast platforms this year than I ever thought possible. And you guys keep coming back to the videos and seeing these guests live. And then you're like, why is that other dork over there? Like, we just want to hear from them people. But, anyway, thank you for supporting us. If you would be so inclined, go to Apple Podcasts, write us a review, tell us that you like the show, tell people why you like the show, maybe an episode or two that have been your favorites. Just call it out because that helps us get more visibility, get more ears, and more visibility to the show, which is very, very important. So in January 8th, we started with our season 10 premiere. Can you believe that? 10 years of people listening to me talk. I cannot believe it. I just want to thank you guys for listening. I want to thank you for being along for the ride, the journey. Season 10, baby. Let's get this bad boy going, right? Let's go. My wife's been married to me for 32 years, and she can't believe it because she's like, 32 years. I thought it would be over by now. But we started the episode with one of the most kick-ass entrepreneurs, Randy Zucker. Her episode was on January 15th, the day after my birthday. What a way to celebrate it with this amazing entrepreneur.
If you have a good deal, the money will follow. You could start forming those relationships with banks and mortgage brokers. And there's also a lot of private money lenders that, they might want 10% interest rates. So if the numbers make sense, though, you could also tap into private money lenders. And you could also join Facebook groups. There's tons of private money Facebook groups as well that can help get you through the door.
On 129, Todd Henry. Todd Henry is a best-selling author. He is someone that I have had on my wish list for a very long time, actually over a year trying to get him on the show. Finally made it happen, and that episode was it was perfection.
Things like foosball tables and ping pong and all these things that people point, Nerf guns, like people point to that stuff as like these like fun cultural things. Well, that's fine, but it doesn't really move the needle, which is why I think most people look at it and roll their eyes and go, yeah, okay, great, thank you. But what they really want is something that's going to help them be a better professional, something that's going to help them be more effective.
We moved into February with, I must have been on the Todd train because we had Dr. Todd DeWitt. Dr. Todd and I were introduced to one another through a former guest, Sarah Kennedy, big supporter of the show. She was like, you and Todd will just gel on leadership and all things showing up and being authentic. And boy, was she right.
I do know that there's research that you can't ignore that talks about how little they, to your point, interact with older generations at work, which is, frankly, the numbers suggest they're actively avoiding older generations at work because they speak a different language in a different way, using a different medium. You're not wrong at all. They've lived so virtually, so online, it's unbelievable. They're the kids of technology and COVID on top of that.
Then I had ESPN sportscaster legend Alex Loeb on the show. We nerded out. Let's just be honest. Sports, with me, this guy has forgotten more about sports than I could ever hope to learn. But man, he is a peach of a guy. I was introduced to him by Yvonne Nava, who is a local legend. She is KVU's morning anchor. I love her. She's been one of my favorites for a long time. She's like, you should meet my husband, Alex, because he is awesome. I'm like, I would love to meet Alex because he is like famous and he's a legend. And man, we had a great time in that show.
To get in this business, I still think you have to be a really good writer, because I started off, my first job was as a local news anchor in San Angelo, the sports director, and you have to write and edit and shoot and all your own stuff. But writing is key, and I feel like most sports people who are pretty good in this business and who have been around for a while are good writers.
Then I had school administrator Natalie Poli. Natalie and I connected because we were working on a project for School Leadership Ripple, and I just loved her vibe. And I'm like, you got to come on the Ripple because you have something very, very special. You want to see who our kids are being led by, who those teachers are being led by. You need to meet Natalie Poli because she is doing it for her school. She's an amazing representative for school district, just an incredible person.
I had an eye twitch for a while, and I had a little bit of hard time kind of reading again, which they said was normal because it's almost like when you tell a kid that hit his head, you have a boo-boo on the brain, right? Like, you got a boo-boo on your head. This was like, boo-boo on your brain. And so I made a full recovery. I finished my master's on time, and that truly kind of set the tone for me in regards to kind of trying to figure out my why.
We moved headlong into March 2025. We got to meet Chloe Spillane. And Chloe, you could just listen to her all day long and just hit repeat all the time because she's got that Australian accent and she is smart as a whip. Chloe and I have been doing some other things that you need to check out. If you're not in the pond, you definitely need to be. Go to ripplecentral.com/POND. She just did and launched Chloe AI. It's a phenomenal tool and resource for people that are considering career transition, want to get better at interviewing, or need somebody who can help them figure out and navigate what's next for their career. Chloe brought her stuff, and that episode was on March 4th.
I'm trying to educate people on prompting because the more you give it, the better the information she'll give you back. So I encourage people to just feel like you're having a conversation. So if you ask a prompt and you don't get what you potentially want, just reframe the question, ask another question. But Chloe, I will also ask you a question after every piece of information she delivers.
Andrea Waltz was on 311. She is the author of Go for No. She will teach you more about absorbing rejection and turning that into a superpower. If you're in business development or sales of any kind, you want to catch that episode.
Maybe the message is catching on, but people are interested, but then you're not setting an appointment, or you're setting appointments and you're not closing. Throughout the funnel, it's constantly looking at where does that fall apart. But beyond that, the biggest thing that we focus on when we speak or when we teach people is just that mindset of that persistence and being willing to hear those no's in order to get the yes. It's not just about, and really wanting to.
And then the amazing Jennifer Hutchinson. Jennifer was a former Dell executive, and she has moved into full-on coaching. And you want to talk about someone who can really get to the core of what it means to be a true leader and how to show up in an authentic way and build a team that wants to come to work. She's your girl. She's amazing.
So you are no longer just responsible for your own business, your own deep, knowledge of the business, but you have to look up and across to your peers. What are the handoffs in like the value chain in your organization? If you do something and you make a decision, what effect is it going to have upstream and downstream? Are you going to break something on either side for some of your now new executive peers?
Then we moved in. Well, let me take a break. That was first quarter. Woo! Man, did we have some great guests in the first quarter. Man, you're like, man, Steve, could you get any better guests? Like, they're all awesome. There's not any one that's better than the other, but let's just say the awesome train just kept it rolling into April. April, we started with a two-time NCAA football champion for the Nebraska Cornhuskers and a one-time Super Bowl champion for the Denver Broncos, Mr. Tony Veland. Tony is a mountain of a man. He was intimidating as hell, but we met at a conference. Nicest guy you could ever hope to meet. And man, is he making a difference for the University of Nebraska, a commitment to helping kids understand the career paths and opportunities that await them if they commit to understand technology and apply it in other ways than just showing up and playing on your PS5, right? He is a prince of a guy.
And we're fortunate to have some really good, engineering firms and construction management firms that really believe wholeheartedly in, bringing along people within the state, right? And so, case in point, you got a Kiwa that does a lot of hiring from you. You have an HDR, companies like that who really want to provide opportunities for people here to learn and build and grow and give back to the community that they actually were raised in. And so when you have that kind of support and you have the opportunity, why not marry the two?
On April 15th, we had Miss Natalie McHale. Natalie, let me just say, did I ever think I would actually get an ex-Chicago Bulls dancer on my show? Absolutely not. Could I have ever imagined that I would not only come to love her because of her wit and her just genuineness, but also because of everything that she's gone through? Talk about someone who has been through it and has come through on the other side. She survived a heart situation. She survived a stroke after the birth of one of her kids. And she is now an advocate for understanding what's going on with your body. And she is also a school administrator making a huge, huge difference in her school district. And you will want to go back and check that episode. It was fantastic.
Most brands who come through our doors, we build them a beautiful website, a brand strategy. We consult them. They really struggle to build a brand because they don't put 110% into the brand piece of it, right? They might still convert leads into customers through some of our efforts. They might still see sales increase from what we've done. But building a brand is probably one of the hardest things you can ever do. And the reason why is because you have to commit to content. You have to commit to value and entertainment for your audience without getting anything in return.
Then we finished up the month on April 30th, 4:30. Blair Channing Ray. Blair is hilarious. Blair and I have been friends on Instagram for maybe a year or 2 years. Her vibe, her energy, her enthusiasm for making an impact out there in the world is just off the charts. I try not to hold the fact that she's a Washington Commanders fan against her, but I'm a Cowboys fan, so I did a little bit. Just saying.
Talked about a period in time where I had a bout with major depressive disorder, and I suffered from suicide ideation, and it was very scary for me because in my mind, you think, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to deal with this. And it wasn't so much that I wanted to die. I wanted my problems to die.
Then we moved into the month of May. May was amazing. I had Angela Pappas join us. Her episode was so fun, and she is such a true, authentic individual. You're going to learn so much from her. She dropped so many nuggets. I had a number of people that came back to me and said, oh my gosh, I want to know her. Not only do I want to learn from her from a professional perspective, but I actually need her in my life. And we just had so much fun recording that interview.
And they don't want to wait for everything to be solved and then told what they're going to do. They want to be a part of the problem solving. They want to be at the table contributing their ideas. And if we can't change how leadership thinks about those people coming in and what they have to offer, we're missing out on really tapping into what's going to motivate them and engage them.
Then we moved into May 15th, 14th, 5/14. Lisa Ramirez. Lisa is one of the senior leaders at Indeed. She was one of my favorite gets of all time because it took a while to coordinate it. But to hear her perspective, not only from the early days of what Indeed was to where it's grown, but honestly what she's bringing to that position was so illuminating. And all that Indeed is trying to do to give back I love that. Loved it. Loved it.
We just stay super focused on the mission of helping people get jobs. And so in these times of turmoil, our job seekers need us immensely.
Yeah.
And our employers, once they start getting overloaded with applications, they really need help sorting through those.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean that no one's hiring. It just means that they're being a little bit more selective.
And then we moved into May 2025 with Megan Potter. Oh my gosh, Megan was such a fun interview. Her enthusiasm, her excitement for the work that she does, and just the spark she brings. She is truly somebody you're going to love all day long, because that is someone who wakes up every day with just an enthusiasm for life. And it is infectious. I promise when you listen to it, you're going to be like, man, oh man, I need to know what she does in terms of supplements or, her special magic, potion, because she brings it in a major way.
Showing that you want to help your colleagues, you want to help train the new person, you want to assist with a project, you might not necessarily be allowed at the decision-making table, but you would love to hear what's happening and give your 2 cents to your leader in your one-on-one or whatever. I find a lot of it though is just relationships with your coworkers, Are you helpful? Are you a problem solver? Are you taking the initiative to get something done without someone standing over you being like, this, and this needs to be done?
So then we move into the end of second quarter, which on June 4th was a solo episode from this guy. Not that dynamic, probably not that interesting, but I had a request to do a solo episode, so I did. I had a lot of fun. I can't say anything magical happened. I just showed up and did what I did. Did what I do, or do it how I wanted to do it. I don't know. It was a solo episode. Go check it out, but really don't waste any time with me. Just go on to the next great, cool guest. All right. But that one did drop on 6/4. That was June 4th. Yes, is that feedback valuable? Absolutely. Was it correct? Yes. Could it have been delivered in a nicer way? Without question. But then you have to consider the source. You have to consider the circumstances by which they felt comfortable to bring it up, and that there was not necessarily a desire to see me get better, but to really kind of keep me down. And then we had Jen Lehner on 6/18, June 18th. Jen is the AI queen. She has her own daily briefing on Amazon Alexa. She puts out the best tips and nuggets, not only on the daily briefing, but also on her Instagram. I met Jen because of a connection. Believe it or not, a friend of mine is good friends with her. I knew this friend from high school, and she's like, Steve, you and Jen will jam and it will be awesome. And you know what? She was absolutely right. Jen was a amazing guest.
What are the different job roles I can create? And let me create a little robot for each of those roles. So you have your finance department, your marketing department, and each of those can be AI doing the, and you can even from there even go down into micro tasks. Like I have a custom GPT, and the instructions that I put inside of it, which by the way, you learn how to create a custom GPT in my course, and it will take you all of 5 minutes. It sounds fancy. It's not.
Hey Ripplers, before we jump back in, I want to take a quick moment to share 2 ways you can go even deeper with us. First, if you're enjoying this podcast, you'll love our paid subscription offers on both Substack and Patreon. That is where you'll get exclusive content, behind the scenes insights, and extra resources about connections and relationships that you won't read anywhere else, plus a few little other ditties. It's a great way to support the show and stay connected between episodes. And let's be honest, if you're craving something even more immersive, and who isn't, check out our Connect and Grow Ripple coaching program. Man, this is a full year of coaching, content, and community designed to help you become a more engaged connector and leader in both life and business. I love this program. I think you will too. You'll join a vibrant community of like-minded Ripplers to gain access to master classes led by dynamic experts, including me, attend live workshops, group coaching sessions, and get the accountability and actionable strategies you need to build more meaningful relationships to create an even bigger ripple effect out there in the world, which Who doesn't want that? You can find the links in the show notes to sign up today. Hope to see you over there. Ripple on. And that brings us to 625, the day that will go down in infamy. I've been trying to get Sophie Mazzaro on my show for years. If you don't know, Sophie is one of the world famous artists. She actually is known for one of the murals that she painted as a Kobe Bryant tribute out in Los Angeles. She's been a part of a reality series. She was like the top model for Maxim in Germany. But not only is she beautiful, she is ridiculously talented. She is probably one of the most talented people that I've ever seen. She's an incredible artist. And thanks to this interview, I'm just going to tell you right now, spoiler alert, I guilted her into finishing the book she's been working on for a while. And LA Confessions, she was out trying to do the acting thing and went through some very unusual circumstances. And I tell you, she is as funny as she is talented. And you just have got to watch this episode, and then you got to go check out her website. I have a pair of hand-painted high tops, and you got to go find that video because I'm just not even going to spoil it. They are bomb diggity. She is so talented. There's not a medium she can't work with, but she is as sweet and as kind of person as you could possibly ever imagine. So go check that episode out.
If you want to work at the post office to support your artistic journey, then go do that, because do whatever helps you and enables you in this economy to paint and still have that. That's still better than not painting at all and just being in a job where you're miserable.
July started our third quarter, and it was chock full of amazing guests. Let's dive in and talk about them. Gabriela Imban, author, amazing strategist about helping you navigate the odd challenges of work and marriage and those dynamics in that relationship. I had so much fun. She also has an amazing podcast you've got to check out, but I can tell you right now, without question, she is making a difference in couples' lives and making that whole relationship a priority, even over and above whatever you might do professionally. I think you definitely will get a lot of value from that episode. Go check that out. That was on 7/8.
Now, if I'm committed and I practice the rituals of integration, communication, collaboration, I can come home and say to my spouse, I had a really difficult day. Do you mind if I'm going to take an hour for myself? Or you may even say, and that happens sometimes with our children, that they say, can I just eat on my own today? Because we have supper as a family. But sometimes they had a day at home. Can I just eat in my room? I need really to decompress. And of course you can.
Then we wrapped up the month on 7/23 with my longtime friend, one of my first ever customers when I moved to Austin. She's the sweetest, kindest person you could ever possibly imagine. Madeline York came on the Ripple Effect podcast. Madeline and I talked all things HR. We talked all things career. We talked about understanding your power and taking control of your interview process. Madeline is just amazing. She is such a really, really incredible lady. So check her episode out on 7/23.
But you're right. Going to Starbucks, going to the barista, talking to anybody will give you that sense of how to communicate. Not the sense of, it will showcase you in that way, but give you confidence, like to talk to somebody in an elevator. Some of the things that for me are normal or easy for me to do. That's great. Anywhere you go, check her at the grocery store or whatever, wherever you're around people, but also to get out of your house.
We moved headlong into August. Deb Cavello. Oh my gosh. Deb and I met because Deb actually approached me about being on my podcast, about me being on her podcast. And oh my God, we had such a fun time. I immediately had to invite her back onto the Ripple Effect podcast. This is a woman that is shaking up executive boardrooms. Her leadership approach, her direction for being, her approach to being direct and to the point and getting through and cutting through the BS She can do it. We had such a fun time. We learned a lot about one another through this episode. I just love her to pieces.
The CEO's compass is not just how I go into an organization and assess what the gaps are, fix some people, fix some processes, fix some platforms or tools, or put in a new ERP system. When I was in corporate and we acquired smaller companies, and then we had to bring them onto the mothership, so often they treated that just as a transaction. And I realized I had to go to those companies to understand what was so wonderful about them as a culture and their portfolio and the people and their unique qualities.
Then we have my good friend Scott Carley, who just dropped a new book. I was super excited to be on his podcast. He was so generous to come on mine. He will get you thinking about your trust credit score. What is that? Got to go check out that episode. You will just love Scott. He's such a great guy, really fun, interesting backstory. And he tells you from the heart why this book is so important and why it's changing lives.
Because they're moving. They want to move up. They want to better themselves. And they're not stuck on, I'm going to be somewhere for 20 years and get my gold pin and I'll be all right. I want to advance and move. And if employers and leaders can keep that in mind and say, okay, this is the way I see you right now, but in 3 years, I see you doing this and this too. And I'm going to spend the time investing in you so that in a year from now, I can move you into that place and it won't be a leap. It'll just be a step.
Then I got to have Christy Collier on August 20th, 8/20 on the podcast. She is I guess you could call her a former physical therapist who decided to take her physical therapy and instead of treating people as a number, actually treat them with care, kindness, consideration, and look at the holistic approach to body care. She is fun, dynamic, amazingly creative young lady that I can tell you that you'll get a little sneak peek of that in that episode as well. But she just has a little sparkle that really, really gets you hooked. And I can see why she's super successful as a practitioner, what she does today. She is just a dynamo. And I have really, really appreciated not only that episode, I learned a lot. I started doing a few different things in my own health, but really I appreciated just getting to know her for her energy and her enthusiasm. And she is one hell of a kick-ass entrepreneur. Full show.
There could be ways that a fascia, like an area of the body, is also means that you may be holding something emotionally. And I've been learning about that and practicing it. And I went to a retreat a few weeks ago, and we worked on all these areas of our body, and it really does feel different. Like when there is pressure, we're moving an area, it might bring up certain emotions or it might bring up certain memories, and it's up to us to kind of revisit them and be with them and let them go, or support them and be compassionate with ourselves.
And then we came to September, finishing up third quota with amazing guests. Again, not actually putting myself on that list, but I had 2 solo episodes. I had some stuff on my mind on 9/2, September 2nd. And so you can go back and listen to that if you want to. It's hard for me to record content, be upbeat and positive when in the back of my mind I'm wrestling with all these tigers. And I have, but nobody wants to hear you get on a video and complain and whine and, oh, woe is me, because nobody wants that. People come to social media and to these content vehicles to get an escape, get an inspiring idea, be motivated to do something. Then you got to meet Bo Jones, man. Oh my gosh, this guy is changing the dynamic in construction. Bo and I were introduced by my good friend Maggie Thorne, who is also an amazing guest from last year. And Bo is doing some things that are unique. Not only does he have a general contracting business, but he's actually trying to create a pathway for high school students to understand that there are alternative ways to get engaged in the construction industry and recognize that if the 4-year college path is not your way to go, that's okay, because you could actually be making more money without actually a formal degree. The trade is where it's at. So you want to learn about this program that he's working on, because now he's taking it beyond construction. He's applying it in a whole lot of ways. I think you will love this episode in a big, big way.
But what it does is it gives us as industry a platform. Through photos and videos, I can come in and tell my story as TrueBuilt Construction. What's a day in the life at TrueBuilt Construction? How-to videos. Get to know us, get to know our team and our culture. What are some of the spaces that we work in? What do we build? Why do we build it? How do we build it? Giving these young professionals and these students the opportunity to see the construction industry and specifically our company on their level.
And then I finished up the month. I guess September was just me talking, man. 9/21, I had another solo episode. There was some stuff pretty important on my mind that I wanted to share. I was going through some stuff and wanted to be honest about it. Also is very, very, very obvious to me that people are not thinking before they're opening their mouths. They're not thinking before they jump on Twitter or X. They're not thinking before they make these, long posts on YouTube or Instagram. They're not thinking before they put these words onto a post about what is happening. That, my friend, then brings us to fourth quarter. Bang. October was a long month, and we had 5 guests in October. Oh my gosh. We had the amazing, another friend from down under, Karen Anson. Karen is a employment lawyer who had such a unique take and perspective on some things that we need to be aware of and understand in terms of our rights, in terms of what we can and cannot do, and really just giving us a sense of the empowerment that we have. And not only is she great in that arena, but she's also trying to help women really take control of where they want to go, not in just their career, but also in their lives. And so I had such an amazing time having a conversation with her.
I thought it was a pretty cool person. But this journey that I've been on, for the last 5 years has been nothing short of transformational. Because I'm the only person that can try myself. And I'm actually working alone at the moment. I don't have any staff. I've been working alone. I've got a few people that I consult with, and in my other business, Ignite Your Purpose, I work with other coaches and things like that.
We had a 2-parter with Justin Foster. Justin is an incredible entrepreneur. He is an incredible marketer. He and I were introduced by another former guest from maybe 2 years ago, Anne Fry. She's like, you're going to love Justin. Justin's going to love you. And Justin and I loved each other, man. We did so much loving that we had to create 2 different episodes. Justin is just so thoughtful. He is so committed to what he does. And we had a blast talking about, what he does, how he does it for his clients, but most importantly, why he's so passionate about what he does as an entrepreneur. He's recently relocated to Mexico City, so we got to talk a little bit about that, and that was just a blast.
The U.S. is a system that produced a culture.
Yep.
And unless you're a person of color or a queer person or an immigrant or something where you have an identity that's not necessarily only related to being American, that's the culture. Here, it's a culture that produced a system. If you don't have clarity about who you are, you don't really know what to say. And so what will happen is you hire somebody to do your marketing for you, they'll tell you what your voice is. I don't do that.
Now, just to tie back one up for October, on 10/29, we had the salesman of salesmen, Drew Norton. This guy, man, I love this guy. I would buy almost anything from this guy. He has a way of helping you understand what it takes to be efficient and effective and actually do really, really well as a salesperson. He and I had such a fun talk about the sales profession and what people do to get into it, why they do what they do, to why there is this natural tendency for people to not like salespeople, and how you can not be one of those people. But you're the kind of person that solves problems and listens and understands and does all the things necessary to make people want to do business with you. I promise you, you're going to want to follow this guy. You're going to want to pay attention to what he's doing out there in the world, because this guy is not your average sales guy. This guy is doing things at a level and at a rate that I have really honestly not seen from anyone. I loved our conversation so much, and I learned a lot, and I've been in sales my entire adult life, and I am still going back to that episode, taking those nuggets, looking at how I can apply it to what I do day to day. I loved it. It was so much fun. So go check out that episode with Drew Norton on 1029.
It would almost be immoral if I don't offer my product or service, because it will help them. Like that when people can make that shift, it's like, oh, okay. Like, it's not about just convincing someone. It's hey, if I can't help you, I'm going to tell you that. If I can, I'm going to.
And we're going to slide into November. I told you that Chloe Splain would make it another appearance. She did for the pond, but she came back for the podcast because we wanted to talk about Chloe AI, the new tool and resource that she built, the technology that went into it, all the entrepreneurial effort to give birth to this new entity. It was such a fun episode to hear it, to see it, to know that she had put all this work in. I kind of knew about it from earlier in the year, but to see her actually see her dream come to life was really phenomenal. And this was an opportunity to actually celebrate that. And I loved every second of that second conversation.
You know, there's going to be ongoing work around the resources and the experts that we bring in. So this is a tool that you will be able to use throughout that entire development or growth of your career. It's not a tool that you just come in and do a practice interview on. Chloe AI is someone that you speak to or have there with you to guide you through your entire career. And the reason she is that is because that's what I am.
That was on 11/9, and then we rolled into 11/18 right before the Thanksgiving holiday with my good friend, longtime friend, Natalie Bavacqua. Bavacqua. She says nobody can ever say her name right. I probably didn't do it either. But Bavacqua is, I've known Natalie for a very long time. Natalie managed to do this entire interview without telling you what she does, which I thought was incredible. But what she did tell you was how you can take control of your life and decide that maybe there are other ways that you can fulfill your dream of being an entrepreneur, to showing up for yourself, for your family, for yourself. And I loved every second of this conversation. Not only is she so fun to talk to just in real life, but man, she brought the A game to this interview, and I loved it. And I promise you, if you go back and check that episode, you will love it too.
We learn so much. And there's mentors. I've always been willing to ask people, like you, ask people. I've had people come to me that are looking at starting a business. Maybe they're looking at real estate, or they're, and ask questions. If you have that in you to want to do something, explore that. Because a lot of things can be done, it doesn't mean you have to give up your day job, to do it.
We are rocking it with a couple of final things, right? Mel McSherry, a coach, just a inspirational. You want to talk about a woman that understands intuitive coaching? This woman knows how to do it. She has a program that she does that I think you are going to want to know about. I think you're going to want to find out about it. I think you're going to want to get involved with it potentially, because I think she is someone that has figured out how to really kick her own career into a higher level, a completely different zenith, if you will. And she was rocking and rolling. She was killing it, and yet not satisfied, not happy, and not feeling personally fulfilled. So she decided to reinvent herself and what she wanted to bring to the world. And I loved it. I loved every second of our conversation. And she is going to become, whether she recognizes it or not, she's going to become one of my best friends, because she is that cool to hang out with. She was just so much fun. We had a great interview. Loved it.
And when you feel that pull of what you want to do, I get asked often, what is the one piece of advice that you love to tell people? And the one piece I love to say is, trust yourself. You really can. It might be awkward. You might have never been able to do it ever, and that's going to take practice. But as I said before, you naturally live and work inside of your human design.
This has been a year of epic proportions for this show. As I kicked off at the very beginning, This was so much fun. I enjoyed it so much. I have learned a ton this year. I feel like I've grown by leaps and bounds just by being surrounded by so many incredible, amazing people. And I hope that you'll go back, pen in hand, and listen to each and every one of these episodes, because I promise you, you won't learn one thing. You won't just learn two things. You're going to learn a whole plethora of things from each and every one of these guests. They're amazing. I am so indebted to them. And I am so grateful to you, our audience, our loyal audience that shows up and listens. They comment, they reach out to me and say, hey, this is what I'm liking. This is what I'm learning. This is what I'm taking. Here's how I'm applying the ripple. And I love that each and every guest has a slightly different take on what the ripple effect means to them when they hear those words or how they apply it in their own lives and their own work. And so to be able to hold space for this, for you and for these amazing, wonderful guests, it is truly an honor. And I am so thankful. Thank you for a wonderful 2025. I am so very blessed by you. We're just grateful. And I can't wait to get started with 2026. So you guys have the best holiday season. You guys have a phenomenal start to 2026. Let me be one of the first to say happy holidays. Happy New Year. Happy ready to go kick 2026 in the hindquarters and make it your own. And I can't wait for the exciting things that lie ahead. Till next time, my friends. I'll see you soon. Ripple on.